Hello everybody and welcome to Wednesdays Reflexology Wisdom, and today we're going to be looking at foot charts created right back at the dawn of reflexology in England, created by Doreen Bayly. The wonderful thing is that the Bayly School of Reflexology is still running. The British Reflexology Association, which she also created, is still running, so we have a real legacy from this wonderful woman. So this is Doreen. It's a picture I've managed to find of her from the internet. And without any further ado, we're going to now have a look at her wonderful poster. So here we have Doreen Bayly's foot chart. And the first thing I just want to say about this one, it goes right back to 1980. That's when the copyright on this foot chart is. So it's a really clear foot chart, but if we compare this to the two that we've already looked at, there is a striking difference, and that is actually the lack of reflexes that are here. And this, of course, is because we're starting off where reflexology is first being discovered. We're really working out, at the time, what was where and where it was on the feet. So the first thing that I want to point out is, on the side of the foot just here, there are no legs at all, and there are no arms at all. So as with Hannah Marquardt's last week, where she was saying that the lower leg and the lower arm couldn't yet be reliably mapped, maybe back in the 1970s and 80s, when this was being put together, they just hadn't even got to map the upper arm and leg. The interesting thing is, though, is that we do have the shoulder reflex here, and we've got the shoulder reflex just here and here as well, but just no connection. We've also got the hip reflex just here and here, but again, no connection back up to where the appendages might be. Now, one thing that I really do like about this chart, which is different to anything else that I've seen before, is it's color-coded. And we've got up here that we've got the blue areas, bone structure, green areas, glandular system, red area, heart, another one with red and green, liver and spleen. We've then got organs of elimination, which are yellow, digestive organs, which are brown, and then nerve areas, we've gone with red again. Now, I don't know why we've gone with red again. Maybe it was because, again, 1980s, the more colour you had, the more expensive the poster would have cost to have produced. So it may have been that she had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 7-colour print price point, something like that. It could have been something along that kind of line. Very clear as far as the actual diagrammatic of this is. The other thing that I want to point out, I don't know at what age it was that Doreen Bayly designed this, but have a look here. This is the breast area, which basically almost meets the lymphatic groin area. So I'll just let you make your own opinion on where she thought breasts were, and maybe at what age it was that she drew this one. I'm saying that in a very light-hearted way, because I actually have a little saying with my students, because of course nowadays we would put the breast right up here, and she's got the lung reflex just there. Now, maybe it was actually that she was wanting to not overlap areas. So it was a case of, well, we can't put the breast there because that's where the lung is, so the breast has got to go somewhere else. Now, of course, anatomically, that doesn't work. Because when I'm saying to my students, I'll say, make sure that you don't work too low on the breast area, because otherwise it's like saying in reflexology language that your boobs go down to your belly button. Well, on this chart, they do. So, next point that I just wanted to just draw your attention to is the heart reflex is right over here in this circle just here. And this is way over to the left-hand side compared to where we would normally place the heart nowadays. And again, what we've got here is that we've got the thyroid reflex placed here in green. And I'm wondering, is it a case that Doreen is thinking you cannot have reflexes overlapping each other on her diagram, just to try to make the diagram more simple? But the problem is, anatomically, to me, it makes the foot chart look incorrect. Because I personally, my preference is I like the anatomical foot charts. We have two sorts of foot charts in reflexology. One's called anatomical, the other one is called experiential. And the experiential foot charts are the ones where the reflexologist that created the chart is saying, this is where I have found on 9 out of 10 of my clients, for example, the heart reflex to be, and say with 10 clients that have got heart issues, and so they'll have found an area that responds sharply, and it may be nowhere near where we would place the heart reflex. They may be getting a sharp spot on the feet just round about here. The only thing, of course, is Doreen Bayly isn't around to ask anymore, so it's a case of we just have to try to work out how she put this chart together. Now, one thing, it's not just one thing, by the way, something that I really, really love about this chart, and it's not on any of the other charts that I've been aware of, but I do find this to be true in my reflexology practice. And she has placed the lower back reflex just here. Not here, on the midline, where the spine is, but here, on what Tony Porter calls the lateral spine. It's also where you've got the urinary bladder meridian line. And the urinary bladder meridian line runs right up the erector spinae muscles. But the other exciting thing is that where she has placed the lower back, if you were to take where you have got the flat of the pelvis, at the rear of the pelvis, you've got all of the muscle attachments for the erector spinae muscle will be just as you're working your way up the flat bony surface of the heel on the lateral aspect of it. You'll find that just as you go over the edge, you start to get into soft tissue. So the hard boniness of the lateral aspect of the hip reflex will represent the hard boniness of the pelvis. Just as you kind of get into that soft area, you're starting to then get into the area that denotes soft tissue, such as muscle. And I always find when I'm working on a client that's got backache, as in muscular backache, I get strong reflexes, strong reactions just around in this point here. And this is exactly where Doreen Bayly has placed this point. So I love it. She's obviously found what I am finding in my clients as well, because you would be thinking if it's the back, you would be thinking it's going to be on the medial aspect of where the spine is. And what we've got to realise is that the pelvis spreads right the way across from medial to lateral, and we've got these muscle attachments beautifully placed on there physically and reflected on the reflexes. So let's just quickly run through this then. So we've got lung reflexes, exactly where we would place them today. Liver reflex, exactly where we would place it today. Solar plexus reflex, just wanted to point this one out to you just here, in the center of the feet. just below the diaphragm line. So what Doreen was obviously thinking, solar plexus is in the center of our bodies. So she's placing the solar plexus in the center of the feet. I can see where she's coming from with that one. Kidney reflex, exactly where we would place it at the moment. Ureter reflex, exactly where we would place it at the moment. And bladder reflex on the medial aspect, again, exactly where we would place it. So there are a lot of similarities here. A lot of similarities, but then also some striking differences. So guys, this is Doreen Bayly's foot map. That's your reflexology wisdom for today. Stay safe, stay well, and see you next week with one of the most beautiful charts that I think has ever been created.